Ripeness refers to the readiness of a case for adjudication by a court. A case is considered ripe when it has developed sufficiently to be ready for judicial review, meaning that the issues are clearly defined, concrete, and ready for a decision. Ripeness is a legal doctrine that ensures courts do not issue advisory opinions on abstract or hypothetical disputes, but instead address actual present controversies. Key elements of ripeness. 1. Concrete and developed issues. Clarity of issues. For a case to be ripe, the legal issues must be fully developed and clear. The court must have a concrete set of facts and a well-defined dispute to address. Example: a case challenging the enforcement of a new regulation may be considered ripe if the regulation has been enforced and the plaintiff has experienced specific adverse effects. 2. Avoidance of premature litigation. Prevention of hypothetical decisions. The ripeness doctrine prevents courts from issuing decisions on abstract, hypothetical, or speculative disputes. Courts prefer to adjudicate actual controversies with real consequences. Example: a plaintiff suing over a potential future implementation of a law might have their case dismissed for lack of ripeness if the law has not yet been enacted or enforced. 3. Actual harm or imminent threat. Presence of harm. The plaintiff must demonstrate that they have already suffered harm, or that the harm is imminent and certain to occur. This ensures that the court addresses cases with real, tangible consequences. Example: a business challenging an environmental regulation must show that the regulation has already caused financial harm, or that compliance will imminently result in significant economic burden. 4. Judicial efficiency, efficient use of resources. Courts aim to use their resources efficiently by focusing on cases that present actual, developed controversies. Dismissing unripe cases saves judicial resources and prevents unnecessary litigation. Example: dismissing a case that lacks ripeness prevents the court from spending time on speculative disputes that may never materialize into concrete issues. Legal framework and considerations. 1. Ripeness doctrine in U.S. law. A. Constitutional basis. Article 3 and justiciability. The ripeness doctrine is rooted in the justiciability requirements of Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution, which limits federal courts to adjudicating actual cases or controversies. This ensures that courts do not overstep their judicial role by issuing advisory opinions. B. Case law and tests. Abbott Laboratories. Gardner, 1967. The U.S. Supreme Court established a two-part test for ripeness in the context of administrative law. 1. The fitness of the issues for judicial decision. 2. The hardship to the parties of withholding court consideration. 2. Ripeness in administrative law, judicial review of regulations. In administrative law, ripeness often comes into play when courts are asked to review regulations or agency actions. Plaintiffs must show that the regulation has had a direct and immediate impact on them, and that the issues are fit for review. 3. Ripeness in civil litigation, contract disputes, and torts. In civil litigation, cases involving contract disputes, tort claims, and other private matters must also meet ripeness requirements. Plaintiffs must demonstrate that their claims are based on actual events and not on future possibilities. Examples of ripeness in practice: constitutional challenges. Example: a state enacts a new voting law that imposes specific restrictions. Voters or advocacy groups challenge the law's constitutionality based on its immediate impact on voter access. The case is ripe if the law has already affected voting procedures and rights. Non-ripe example: voters challenge a proposed voting law that is still in the legislative process and has not been enacted. The court may dismiss the case for lack of ripeness, as the law's implementation and impact are uncertain.